Yeah, this is one of them throwback songs that go back and, when they did pull up the rug, and yeah, like Luther said, and moved all the furniture out the way. Yeah, out the way, out the way. Yeah, see, how many ways we gonna do this here? Let's start. See, yeah, just start right here, Move your shoulders, clap your hands.
They say just start anywhere.
Move your feet.
Or just start anywhere.
You can form a line, do the slide if you want to. Do whatever you want to do. This is that kind of song.
All you gotta do is
Right.
check it out right here.
Let's do some more.
Make it about God. Make it all right.
Let's do some more.
Make it about God. Make it all right. Yeah, make it about God. Yeah, make it all right.
I said, let's do some more. Let's do some more.
Make it all right.
And we begin.
Yeah, just make it about
Living
God.
with Reality podcast.
Think right.
Your host, Mbackham,
Act right. Be
Truth and Consequences. This podcast is a very serious podcast with critical subject matter. But first, as I introduce this podcast, I have to introduce to you some books. The first is the Holy Bible, which I have here on my desk. I like to call it the Bible because I call it the Bible as opposed to the Holy Bible, is because when I read the opening of it, it says containing the Old and New Testaments, translated out of the original tongues, plural, and with the former translations diligently compared and revised. By His Majesty's special command, appointed to be read in churches. Authorized King James Version. This particular one here was my mother's, and it was a copy written in 1997. The Bible, the Holy Bible, as some call it. Then I have this other book here, which is called the Holy Quran. Can you see that there? Everybody see the Holy Quran? Has some wear on it, as you can see. So does the Bible, because I read them both often. The Holy Quran, in it says, the Holy Quran, Arabic text, English translation, and commentary by Maulana Muhammad Ali, published in Lahore, Pakistan, Lahore Incorporated, United States, 1995. So these books were kind of printed around the same time, etc. The difference being, in my sight and in my mind and as actual fact, is that the Arabic text here that is accompanied in this book, side by side with the English translation. I'll hold this up to the camera, hopefully that you can see that. With the English translation, the Arabic text is the text that has been this way since the compilation or revelation of this book. I have studied the Arabic language. I do not speak it fluently, but I do read and write it. As well the English language, which I speak somewhat fluently, and read and write it as well. So these two books are very critical in this podcast, as well as a few other books here. I have God, Jesus Christ is a Power for Living. It is a student's manual, a study book, a study guide that I participate in um, with one of the churches that I attend, I go to, as well as the mosque I go to as well. Friendships in all walks of life. I say that, I guess I can introduce this other book here, which is called The Supreme Wisdom. In it is just valuable lessons. And then it says, it has a problem in here that it says that it's problem number 13 of the Supreme Wisdom. This book here has been originated by a person by the name and title of Master Fard Muhammad. And then the problem number 13, which I find interesting that it is introduced at the beginning of the book. Before you get to the other problems, he introduces us to problem number 13. And let me read problem number 13 to you. It says, after learning mathematics, which is Islam, and Islam is mathematics, it stands true. You can always prove it at no limit of time. Then you must learn to use it and secure some benefit while you are living. That is luxury, money, good homes, friendships in all walks of life. Sit yourself in heaven at once. That is the greatest desire of your brother and teachers. Now you must speak the language so you can use your mathematical theology in the proper term. Otherwise, you will not be successful unless you do speak well, for she knows all about you. So the reference is friendships in all walks of life within our Christian family, our Muslim family, our Buddhist family, our secular family. That we're able to walk amongst kings, and we're able to walk amongst the so-called dreads of life, but we don't refer to them as dreads. Just, I don't even like to use the term low life. It's just that we have friendships in all walks of life. You know, from the drug den to the palaces, from the city streets to the countryside. This is a book called The Supreme Wisdom. Now, moving ahead, that with this podcast here, we don't want you to agree with everything we say or do. In my life, I don't agree with everything that I have said and things that I have done. So I'm not here to proclaim holiness and etc. and all of that. No, but I am here to proclaim that we must separate fact from fiction, non-fiction from fiction. Hence, living with reality. To live, meaning to continue to exist. Life, memory, live, life. Vowels are interchangeable, life, the O and the I, love. Reality. Reality is that which is actual. Okay? It's actual. Opposite of virtual. The connecting word of with. Doing something together, meaning doing something together. So now we live with reality. Live life with reality as opposed to virtual. Make believe. Cartoonish, if you please. Truth. Truth is that which is in agreement with, in agreement with fact and or reality. That is truth. Something that is in agreement with facts, indisputable facts. and reality. Common sense, most of the time, can distinguish that just like that. And is a connecting word. A connecting word. Truth and connecting to consequences. Consequences. Often defined in the dictionary as the effect, the result, the effect of something generally bad results in effect, but I don't like to use that. We have to balance that out. It is good and bad. The results, the effects can be good. The results, the effects, can be bad. So as we establish this as the basis of living with reality, truth and consequences, this podcast with your host, M. Backham, we say, do not take what I say, do your own research. Do your research. Don't say, just take my word for it. No, don't take my word for it. Do your own research with that which we can research. We've only learned that which we have been taught, or that which we have researched for ourselves, or that which we have experienced for ourselves. So do your own research. And I say we say because I speak with that which I have learned from others. Brother Malcolm X said that history is best to reward our researchers. So research history on each of these items that we're discussing. For example, politics. Politics, meaning people who represent our interest, supposedly, the political realm. Religion, what we believe in our own personal, our own person. That varies, And then health is another critical subject matter. Science of health, foods, natural foods, and then chemical foods, And on the subject of food, I have this other book on my desk here to introduce to you all, How to Eat to Live. Now, this book is authored by, or should I say written by, or brought to us by, Elijah Muhammad, who represents himself to us as the messenger of Allah, or the messenger of God. But this book says it is from God in person of Master Fard Muhammad. A lot of people have a lot of issues and problems with that language and with that, with the whole concept. However, in reading this book, it is scientifically sound as far as giving good health and giving us an extended period of life, and kind of fulfilling the scriptures of Bible and Quran that when this one came, that he would give us life and life more abundantly. So to interpret that this way is the only interpretation that makes sense for us now in this day and time. We don't live 2,000 years ago, and the Jesus of this Bible, I often say he never said that he was coming back himself. He did say that one was coming to guide us into all the truths, and that one is this man, Elijah Muhammad. and the Comforter, the Spirit of Truth, who would guide us and teach us and be an example for a life to live. But that's further on into our podcast and maybe in another episode. Right now, I just want to introduce this podcast to you all. Again, I'm your host, M. Backham, living with reality, truth, and consequences. So, being a serious topic as this is, but we do want to, mix it and have a little bit of fun. We don't want to be so dogmatic per se, because I don't want you to lose interest, but I do want to have your attention. And because we have enough buffoonery on the internet podcast, so I'm not trying to use any buffoonery. I'm just bringing it to you from my heart. And I'm a musician as well. I have some music that's out there in the public domain on YouTube. Good News Hereafter is a blues type song you can pull up on YouTube, dedicated to the women of the world. And another song that's available right now is A Man's Highway Song. A Man's Highway Song. And from these two songs, you can probably get a feel for my mentality with music. I did some music many years ago called the Strong Song Collection, which is not music videos, but it's just the music that you can also pull up on YouTube and various other platforms. Strong Song Collection. So with that being said, I have another thing I would like to show you. This is the Final Call newspaper. The Final Call newspaper. I'm trying to get it so it looks straight and look nice to you all out there, so so forgive me. But this edition right here, it reads, "A new mind, a new woman, a new world." That is so beautiful. And as you can see, the sisters there. I really like this. I'm going to put this in a frame. And the other issue I have with the Final Call, which is one of our latest ones here, is Marked for Death. We must unite to save our youth. We've got to save our youth. And how can we save our youth if we don't save ourselves? Well, I guess we can't. It's really that simple. It's not complicated, folks. I hate to say folks. It's not complicated, sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, on this episode of this podcast, this introductory podcast, I have one more thing. There was a Speaking Out News from that what I did in 1989. 1989. Speaking Out News. And in this Speaking Out News, I was call myself a journalist. And I have an article that I wrote, and it was published in this here. And here it is right here. I'll just pull out this insert. And I opened it with the name of Allah, Judge Al-Hakim. The judge. In this article I wrote, I was in Alabama, and it says, my poor black brothers and sisters in Alabama have been slaves for so long that I'm afraid that they shall remain slaves forever. I have seen enough of you to make a statement of fact. Some of us have the courage to speak out. The rest of us play bingo, men playing with women, and the only thing you want is a job from your former slave masters. I'll read more of this article in later episodes or editions of the Living with Reality podcast. So finally, what I want to introduce you to is the restrictive laws. The restrictive laws of Islam is our success at any time. I could say that the restrictive law also of the Bible and Quran, but this is a synopsis. This is by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. The restrictive law of Islam is our success at any time. So set yourself in heaven at once. God, Allah, Jesus, Jehovah. We have to take the first step. Then the Almighty will do for us. But we must do for ourselves. We have to produce jobs, words, employment, in order to sustain life, to sustain our existence. Remember, live. Where was that at? That definition? To continue to exist. We have to have good food. We have to have exercise, activity, reality. City Lights is a song that I wrote and produced. It's out there on YouTube. It's part of the Strong Song collection, City Lights. And there's a verse in there where I said that, so I live my life in reality. Bring down on my shoulders the pain and the pressures of the world. Don't you know this is what you got to see? I won't say any more out there. I'll ask you to go and do some research and check it out for yourself. Check out City Lights on YouTube, part of the Strong Song collection, as well as the other songs I named the music videos of Good News Hereafter, Mbackham, your host. Thank you for giving me your time, your ear, and I look forward to coming back to you and making this probably a weekly publication, because it takes some time for me to get things together. I'm new to this, but I believe that I can convey to you a serious message without the trappings of what I believe and what I feel, but with actual facts, research, data, so that we can get out of this fog of cognizant dissonance. We see so much, we're just bombarded with so much, it's hard for us to separate, but it's very simple. It's like basic addition compared to so-called trigonometry, quantum theories and whatnot. They're just so-called 10 numbers, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 0. We go back and we start all over again. You can break 1 up into a whole bunch of pieces in 2, 1.5, 2.5, 1 and 516. But when you start cracking atoms and into a million parts, or when we go back in history so many years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years, 1,000,000 years, 1,000,000,000,000 years, 76 trillion. Well, what is the purpose of going back that far? Because it really doesn't matter really at this day and time, other than the fact to know that I am not the creator of this body that I'm speaking to you in right now. I would lay in bed and I would breathe and I would say, whoa, yes, there is a power, a force, whatever word we want to put on it, that put this magnificent organism together. So I leave you in peace. In English, peace be with you. In Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. In Espanol, La Paz instead.
No.
Thank you.
Too early for that right
In
now.
fact, your host. Till we meet
Just
again.
ride just a little bit more. Yeah, just ride just a little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah. Just a little bit more. Yeah. Just a little bit more.